Hey guys, what's up? I'm Abe, and this is Subculture Classics. What is Subculture Classics? It's a place where we talk about all the favorite games that we used to play growing up and revisiting repressed childhood memories that shouldn't even be brought up, like the one at church camp. Anyway, for this special first episode, we're going to be talking about my favorite game of all time. What is it? Okay, so what comes to mind when the words survival horror and zombies are mentioned? Of course, the cult classic Resident Evil series pops up to mind. With the plethora of sequels and spin-offs that come in almost every year, a plot Capcom devised to milk profits from fans annually. Oh, by the way, I know this is off topic, they really need to make a sequel for Mega Man Legends 2. Anyways, there's one game that stood out the most in my opinion. No, not Resident Evil 6, but Resident Evil 2. Brief summary for those not familiar with the Resident Evil series, which I say would be ridiculous if you don't know jack about it. Leading pharmaceutical company Umbrella Corp has been low-key experimenting with viruses and military weapons until fortunate events caused the viruses and information to leak out, thus infecting the whole city, yada yada yada. To keep it short and sweet, also no spoiler, it's a story of greed and corruption. So you probably ask, hey Abe, why Resident Evil 2? Why not the first one? I mean, you were in a dark, secluded, and haunted mansion with barely any ammo to begin with. So why 2? I mean, don't get me wrong. Number 1 had the best, the most superb voice acting ever in video game history.
Jill, you're here too.
Yes, you're here too?
It's a joke, get it? Because it sucks. Anyways, it was because of Resident Evil 2's atmosphere and soundtrack itself that made the game. This game had elements of trust, hopelessness, betrayal, and a hint of romance?
Ada!
I mean, just the right kind of things that draw a variety of viewers regardless of gender and age. But then, let me break it down why this is such a great game, or a masterpiece in my opinion. Rookie cop Leon S. Kennedy arrives at what seemed to be a desolate town of Raccoon City for his first day, and ironically also his last day in a job. He then later on meets up with Claire Redfield, in relation to the first main character, Chris Redfield, a motorcycle enthusiast looking for a seemingly lost brother. The interesting part of this game is after the cutscene where Leon and Claire split apart due to the tanker that tipped over and exploded, then creating a flaming wreckage in between the two MCs, you then take control of either one of them and slowly reveal the deep dark secrets of the infested Raccoon City and the mega corporation Umbrella. This is actually one of the first Resident Evils to introduce a buddy system. Well, a non-playable buddy system to be exact. You just stick around and help you out when in trouble, or at least just assist you in distracting the monsters. For the graphics, I can't really complain. It was a huge upgrade though from Resident Evil 1 and has a slightly higher polygon rate and resolution, although they still stuck with a low resolution bitmap background that they probably edited in MS Paint or something. Then we have the animations, in which I thought were great and realistic in some sort of way, for its time at least. Trust me, there are games where the animations are just pure garbage, like this one right here. Oh, and this is a modern game, by the way, folks. Shit. Now, let's talk about the infamous tank control system. I believe the first game that I've played with tank controls would be the first Alone in the Dark game for the PC, or formerly to open it, it would be called MS-DOS, or DOS. Honestly, I didn't like it at first, especially it being on the keyboard, but as soon as it was implemented at a game console controller, I thought it wasn't as bad as the keyboard one. In my opinion, I think the implementation of tank controls in a survival horror game is ingenious. It creates that feeling of hopelessness and misery in a player, hence emphasizing the survival part of the name in the genre. I mean, I think it'd be ridiculous if the controls were different and the characters could awkwardly strafe side to side. Okay. See ya. Yeah, really awkward, and it kills the atmosphere of the game. Now for my favorite part, let's talk about the soundtrack. Now I can go on for days about how amazing it is and actually go into details why this game's music complements the game so well in building the atmosphere. First of all, it starts off with a possibly low bassoon introduction, followed by the cringing high-pitched violin strings with a sort of military drum in the back. As you go even further in the game, you notice the soundtrack gets more and more intense, with the exception of the slightly calming save room in the first floor of the RPD station. But one of the most memorable scenes when the music took over my emotions was the gunshot murder. Owner Robert Kendo takes you in for protection until he met his demise by standing close to the storefront windows. That's when the high-pitched tremolo violin ensemble, followed by random percussions, created that sense of urgency and despair for me. Yes, the specific one right here. Scary, right? Well, this is in fact the ingenious application of an atmosphere-building soundtrack brought to you by the legendary Shinji Mikami-san.
My darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe.
What sets this apart from any other horror games is that the feeling of fear that you get isn't a temporary thing. It's not like a little brother jumping out of the closet or jump scare type of reaction, but more of a brief heroic moment, then reduced to a screaming little girl for the most part of the game.
You're on YouTube, nigga.
Yeah, it leaves you that constant fear of untrustworthy camera angles that leave the corners of the hallway blind, and those barricaded windows that are suddenly destroyed by zombies only for you to be grabbed by them. Oh, and did I mention that creepy motherfucker who follows you on a certain part of the game? Yeah, Mr. X. You know what the X stands for? What the fuck is that shit? The only time you can actually kill him is you be willing to waste all your damn bullets on him, only to find out that the next few doors you go to will trigger a sequence. That's right, of him getting back up on his 2 feet. Grand. Okay, so I can't really critique on the flaws of Resident Evil 2, except for the contents that were removed from 1.5. I mean, sacrificing a variety of monsters and other aesthetics did not break the game, and actually gave RE2 a richer plot and a more balanced gameplay. To my conclusion, as a child, I thought to myself that my dad was an asshole for getting me this game at such a young age, and having no prior knowledge to the world of survival horror. But as I grew up, I realized how thankful I am to my dad for introducing me to my soon-to-be favorite game of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed this classics review. And until next time, guys, I'll be doing more classic gaming. Peace.